Hi, welcome back. So today's topic is this the end of America?
And it very well could be.
It
And I
kind
think
of seems that way, yeah.
And the thing is, like Mark 3:25 says, it basically says like if a house is divided against itself, it will not stand. And you look at America right now, and there's
Completely division.
yeah, it's divided everywhere. Just every topic, is just divided over.
Yeah, and the sad thing is, a lot of this is on purpose, in my opinion. In order to make people divided, you have to bring in that fear and just this, you against me against you, white against black. It's just Republican, Democrat. Instead of looking at this as a race, as a team, as a whole, we're put against each other.
Yeah, and that's exactly how they want it. Because if there's division, you're not going to be going the way that it should go. And so basically right now, the spirit of lawlessness is at work.
Yeah.
Everywhere we look at. And so basically 2 Thessalonians 2:7, that says, "For the secret power of lawlessness is already at work, but the one who now holds it back will continue to do so till he is taken out of the way." Which, that means like taken back, the one that's taken back, that's referring to like the Holy Spirit, is he'll move aside, and then that's whenever the Antichrist will be like released.
Yeah, and you can already feel that spirit of just division and confusion that's been put across our land, and that's just part of the plan, right? Where there's confusion and where there's division, it's going to cause chaos.
Yeah.
Which you can see. Look at Seattle. They've created their own country. It
Yeah.
was Chaz, now it's Chop. They've defunded the police. Basically, they won't let the police come in to try to keep peace, which is. I'm not saying that there are bad cops, absolutely, but there are a lot of good cops, and the purpose of a good cop is to come in when you need help and you need that, peace, and they've taken that away from them. So you have a lot of the companies that are surrounding those blocks, and they've either had to close their doors or they are getting broken into, and fires are being placed into these buildings, and it's just a mess.
Yeah, and the thing is, right now there's few people at the top that are controlling the masses right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically, you had the protest, and then you had Antifa and other groups come in, and they basically took over the protest, and now you have riots everywhere. I know that there was a video out there where there was an Antifa, part of the Antifa group, and he was going around like handing $50 bills out to the protesters, and then they said like a couple of those people started, doing things in violence.
Right. So they were basically being very peaceful protesters, and then all of a sudden on this, if it's the same one that I saw, they were protesting peacefully, like I said, and then you see this man, and he's whispering in the ears of each of these protesters, and he's sliding a $50 bill to each of them. And then pretty soon, that's when the violence broke out. So basically, they're being paid to cause this violence.
And all this violence also goes to, basically, it's looking like Nazi Germany again.
Absolutely.
Because as what Hitler did, which he started releasing all the criminals, and look what the United States started doing. They started releasing all the criminals, and when they started doing all that, there's more chaos. And so Hitler tried to do the same thing. He released them, and then he said, we have so much chaos, we need to take away your guns. And he said it would only be like a temporary, solution that they would have to do.
Right.
And then look, they never got their guns back, and that allowed, for him to come over and take over. And the other thing we're talking about is he had a group called the Brown Shirts. And so basically the same thing is happening right now. And so what the Brown Shirts did is they would come in, and anyone who was against like, Hitler and everything like that, they would just start beating people up, and they would just be there just to intimidate people. And you're seeing the same thing happen with those protesters. If you don't go their way, then, they just all come up and just start beating people up.
Yeah.
And people are terrified to go out and, try and say things, because if you have a different opinion than theirs, then, there's some bad things happening to those people.
And here's the thing, listen up, like, when you are divided and you start causing chaos, and you think that you are actually getting somewhere, we are all in this together. So if you're burning down houses and you're burning down buildings, and companies can't go to work, or their doors are locked because they're terrified to go to work, this is us together. What happens when when we burn down our own houses. That's what we are doing. That's what they are doing. They are burning down their brothers and sisters' houses, but yet it's Black Lives Matter. Well, guess what? A lot of these companies that went under, they were owned by black people. You know, they were owned by white people. They were owned by other nationalities, but they're burning them down one by one. That is not helping anything. That's going to cause destruction for the people that are also burning these down, that think they're doing it in the name of civil rest. I mean, it's insane.
Yep.
And this is not going to go well for any of us.
Yeah, and the thing is too is, okay, like the Black Lives Matter, I mean, of course, you know, it's an important thing to talk about, but the thing is, you need to look behind the actual Black Lives Matter organization, because there's a lot of things bad that they do, and I know a lot of people don't know. So if you actually give money to Black Lives Matter, most of that money goes to the Democratic Party, and there's a lot of us, like a lot of other people that are high up, that they're included in the Black Lives Matter. And the Black Lives Matter organization was actually like only created in 2015, and it has a lot of bad things behind that.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, the thing is, on the outskirts, it just seems very like a good organization. Like, of course, Black Lives Matter. Of course. I mean, we agree. I have a lot of black friends. I love them. But it's deeper than that. It's not just Black Lives Matter. There is just this satanic meaning behind the scenes that a lot of people don't see and don't understand until they do a lot of research. And if you haven't done the research, you just think, well, yeah, of course Black Lives Matter, and I want to help them. Yeah, we do too. We love black people. You know, we love white people. We love all people. Yeah. But it's until you get behind that curtain, you pull it back, and then all of a sudden you see that, oh wait, this isn't what I thought it was, and I just gave $100, $10 to this organization you thought was for something good to help these people that need help, and it's not. It's not that. So I implore you to do your own research. The problem is, though, Google has taken off a lot of the things that you need to find out because they don't want you to know.
Yep. Just like whenever the vaccines, that was really popular, and they had, those doctors are coming out and they were taking all their stuff down because they don't want people to know the truth about what's really going behind the scenes.
Yeah. So you really need to maybe find some other places to get the information that they have taken down and are censoring. If you want to know the truth, sometimes you have to find different avenues to find that truth. Yeah,
because a bunch of besides just the search engines, there's a bunch of social media places like, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. They're censoring a lot of stuff that people really need to hear. Mm-hmm.
And some of those companies are privately owned, and if they want to do that, I guess they have that right. But it is a social media for, to give people information. So, it's kind of teetering on that. Is it okay or not okay to do those censoring type of things?
Yeah, because you're basically just taking people's, the voice that they have and just basically saying what information you want people to hear and what you don't want them to hear. Right,
because there's only so many avenues that a lot of people have, and that's Facebook and Instagram and Google to get the information. Yeah.
And so to talk about going with defund the police, the movement that's currently happening, it's basically very similar to what, Nazi Germany was doing. Because, and the thing, talking about censoring again, if you look up on Google, talking about did Hitler defund the police and stuff, you'll have stuff pop up and say false. Right. And it's just, once again, they're trying to censor stuff. But so what Hitler did is he basically appointed the person beneath him over the police department. And so they started getting rid of all the police and putting in basically people that were all for Nazi Germany. And then when that started happening, basically anybody that came against them, they start taking over. And so what's happening right now is, again, the thing, United Nations, they're basically, the global, a bunch of countries are involved in that. And so
basically they're the ones that were behind the Agenda 30.
Yeah, and the George
look that up too.
Yep. The George Floyd family, they went to the UN and they were calling them and saying they need to come over and help with, basically they need to help with the police, reform the police and everything. And so the United Nations, they're actually going to be coming to the U.S., to those major cities where they're having those problems. And they're, I guess, technically what they're going to do is bring in their own people and get rid of the police departments they have and have their own people come in and set up there.
And there's nothing wrong with reforming something, because there's always something you can find in any company that, you know, hey, we need to fix this. We're seeing this might be a problem and we need to reform it. And that's okay. That's not the problem I have.
Yeah.
The problem is that you are taking away the right of basically us to have that safety. So
Right.
now that's gone. Who do we call? There's no one to call. So now you're just going to bring in, you know, people that really have nothing to do with anything, and they're going to police us. Yeah, that's not okay.
And the whole thing is they're just for an agenda. They don't really care. I mean, they say they care about people's well-being, but it's all just to put everything in place that they want in place.
Yeah. So, you know, another thing I was thinking about is a past president that was against building walls. Well, he's got 2 mansions that I'm aware of, and they have big walls around him. Well, that's funny. You don't believe in walls. Why are you building walls? These walls come with security guards around these walls. Well, again, it's kind of strange. You don't want walls, but yet they're right around your house. And this defunding the police thing, that really won't affect the rich people that much, for the fact that they can afford to build these walls around their house. They can afford to ask security guards to come and, you know, make sure that nobody's getting in that doesn't need to be coming in. And defunding the police will actually cause more deaths in Black communities, because unfortunately that's where in the poorer communities, that's where you'll find a lot of the Black people. And if you don't have anyone coming in to help these innocent Black people that are fearing for their lives, there's going to be more deaths in that community. I mean, also white people. There's white people that live in these communities also.
Yeah, there's tons of different nationalities and you know, poor communities. There just are. And the thing is, there's a lot of those people that are in, you know, poor communities that, you know, they're great people. It's just,
absolutely,
unfortunately, sometimes around them, there's people that try and disturb them, and then they have to call the police. And so, if there's no police to call on, who are they going to call?
Yeah, there won't be anyone, and that's sad. I mean, you think there's so many great people, and just because you don't have money doesn't mean you're not, you know, a great person. And now they're going to feel helpless.
Yep.
They won't have anyone that they feel like they can call, and trust will be broken with no one over us to kind of keep law and order. Who do you trust? We don't know.
Yeah.
And that's part of the chaos. It's part of the confusion.
Yep. And with the thing is, like, this goes along with the Bible, like with defunding the police, because basically it would lead to, you know, if you put, like, they have the United Nations coming in, and they're part of the global movement, and so it talks about, you know, during tribulation, the Antichrist, he will rule over a one world government. Mm-hmm. And so this is basically setting up the stage for the one world government, because if you're going to be a part of a one world government, you need people in place that are for you and not against you.
Right.
And there's a lot of cops that won't do what the government tells them to do, and so they're like, well, we have to replace those people with people that would actually carry out what we want them to do.
Right, meaning like with all the COVID and all that, you had a lot of policemen say, I will not arrest people because they didn't wear a mask, right? I refuse to arrest people for not staying 6 feet apart. Well, the government, the people that are behind this agenda, they see that and they say, oh, well, you're not going to do what we tell you to do, so we're going to get rid of you, and we're going to bring in our own people, even if they're not, you know, trained, you know, as police, or trained to even know how to what's the word I'm looking for? To basically corral people when there's, you know, attacks going on or different things. They have no idea what to do. So they're just in confusion like the rest of us. But yet, you know, they're told, hey, we'll give you some money, go out there and police these people. It's just a mess. It's just wrong. So I just think that what we need to do as Christians, number one, we need to be praying all the time. Nonstop, 24 hours a day. In the back of your mind, you need to just be talking to the Lord. You know, hey, you know, people put, I think they put too much into praying, meaning they're too hard on themselves. Well, I'm not sure what to say. I don't know what to say if I pray. It's just like you're talking to anybody. You just say, God, look, like, I am scared. I don't know what to do. You know, I'm out of a job, or I'm afraid to walk down the street. I'm going to be attacked for the color of my skin. I don't know what to do. I mean, God is God. You don't have to be formal. You just talk to him all day long. You can look like you're talking to yourself, and you can look all crazy. I don't care. Talk to him. Talk to him. Tell him what your fears are. Tell him that you need help. He's here. That's what he's for. He's here to help us and protect us. And even though it says clearly in Revelation that this will all come upon us, if you're a Christian, if you're saved, we're going to be taken out before it gets super, super, super bad.
Yeah, then that's because of the rapture.
That's
it takes
right.
the church out before the tribulation starts.
Mm-hmm. So we have that hope. So if you are not a Christian yet, or if you have not asked Jesus to come into your heart and ask for that repentance, repented of your sins, please do that before it's too late. Because once the church is taken out and things are going to get super, super bad, you don't want to be here for that.
Yeah, and the thing to remember is, like Christianity and following Jesus, it has nothing to do with, religion.
Right.
It has everything to do with the relationship.
Yeah.
Even Jesus himself, he didn't like religion because it's not a relationship because they put, stipulations on things, and there's no.
Legalist.
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's things you have to take away whenever you are a follower of Jesus, but it's all about a relationship.
Right. Yep. So, as always, if you guys have any questions, if you would like to have a conversation about this, please leave those comments below. We will try our hardest to get back with you. And if you have any topic that you would like for us to cover, that would be great too. So until next time, I guess we'll sign off. Thanks, guys.
See ya.